Today we'll be looking at Out of This World, an Amiga game converted by Bill Heinemann for the Apple IIGS. This is not to be confused with the 80s comedy of the same name, although both do hold a special place in my heart. Here's my copy of the game. It's got some classic artwork with your protagonist looking confident as ever. Yeah, he's not your traditional hero, that's for sure. And here's a look at the back with some screenshots. Cinematically styled rotoscoped animation, state-of-the-art real-time polygonal graphics. Some serious claims there, but does the game live up to the hype? Let's find out. So this game is hard drive installable, so there'll be no disk swapping going on today. Now with the 2GS version, there's actually 4 different video formats you can choose from. Playing this game in full screen mode will require an accelerated GS, around 12 MHz for best performance. Of course, you should always play that way if you're using an emulator. Matted is 3/4 height but full width. Letterbox is widescreen. The television is half the screen size, which is for stock 2GSs running at 2.8 MHz. I'll go ahead and play matted since I'm using real hardware and don't have a super fast accelerator card. And of course, naturally, I'll play with the joystick. Alright, so here we go. Out of This World. Which I should mention isn't the original title. It was first called Another World when it was originally developed for the Amiga, and it was programmed by a guy named Eric Chahi, a French developer. From the Diary of Lester Knight Chakin. I am taking advantage of this short period of rest to record some blah 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 blah. Let's get on with the game. Now before the game starts, we get this spectacular introduction scene, so I just want to play through this for you. Now it's impressive in its own right using polygons, but especially so to actually see this on a 2GS system. Now, Out of This World was released in 1992 for the Apple IIGS, which is a very important year for that system as it was its last year of production. At the time, there was this ominous feeling among the Apple II community who knew this system didn't have long to go. It hadn't been supported by Apple in years and only lasted as long as it did thanks to its dedicated fans and the third-party providers that released hardware upgrades for the system. Out of This World was really symbolic for the 2GS because it was a way of saying, hey, you know what, there's still amazing software being developed and ported for this system. Matter of fact, a few years after this, Bill Heinemann would team up with Eric Shepard and Ninja Force to port Wolfenstein 3D for the system. Just out of sheer coincidence, the Zip GSX card that I'm actually using on this machine right now was actually sold to me by Eric. Who's a really cool guy, by the way. Alright, so for the 5 of you out there that haven't actually heard of this game, the story is basically you play as this young scientist named Lester who's been messing around with his inventions when a bolt of lightning strikes the building, as we're going to see in just a minute here, and it causes the machine just to go haywire. I'm not totally sure what the specifics are. I'm sure Spock could explain it to us. But basically, it ends up sending Lester to another dimension. And that's where the actual game is going to begin. So let's sit back and watch the rest of this scene play out. That scene really does still impress me to this day. Just knowing what went into actually making that happen. Alright, so you and your workstation are transported underwater, and you want to quickly swim up before those giant tentacles grab you. And as you get out of the water, you realize you're in another world. And the graphics are really something. I mean, it's one thing to have a neat intro, especially using polygons, but then when you get into the actual gameplay, you know, a lot of games have really cool intros, but then the gameplay is lacking. This does not disappoint. And as far as the controls, they're very basic. You can walk, run, you can jump, and then you can kick to kick these little slugs. Come on, get over here. There you go. And as you can see, you navigate from screen to screen rather than have it be a true side-scroller. Alright, so that beast thing there, I gotta tell you, I still remember when I first played this game, that thing scared the crap out of me. And I definitely got killed the first couple times, I remember. So you'll discover early on that you really need to start paying attention to the details of your environment, because there's a lot of puzzles that you'll need to solve to overcome certain obstacles. And for that reason, it's really hard to classify this game into any one genre. I mean, it's part platformer, obviously, and then you got those puzzles thrown in there, and then it's got these cinematic cutscenes, and a story that, I mean, it's simple, yet it's so brilliant at the same time. Honestly, it could be made into a movie, and I've always thought that about this game. I mean, out of this world, it's really just an amazing experience, more than just a game. And for those of you that have played this, I'm sure you know exactly what I'm talking about. And so here, Lester first sees his buddy, named Buddy. No, seriously, that's his name. And, yeah, he's this alien, and he's a fellow prisoner. And so you just want to rock your cage back and forth. And the guard's going to get all irritated by it. Arresta, arresta. Yeah, arrested that. Alright, so... yeah, so you just want to pick up this gun. Again, just spectacular little cutscenes like that thrown into the game. So by now, if I hadn't picked up that gun, I would have been vaporized like my little friend there. And this gun does several things for you that you're going to need. If you hold the fire button down just for a second or two, it actually creates a temporary force field. And so that'll give you time to kill off the enemies. And if you hold the fire button down for, I think it's like probably 2 or 3 seconds, it fully charges and it'll blast through any force field or even some of the walls in the later levels. Alright, so Buddy was able to unlock that gate. And let me just quickly go up to the tower here, and I just want to show you the view of the city. And this is what stands in your way from freedom. So you need to escape the city, and you're not going to be able to do it alone, but Buddy's going to be there to help you along the way. And it's actually really clever how the story comes together, because you and him have to separate at certain parts of the game, and then you guys reunite, and then you separate again, and it's really nice how it all comes together. Especially the ending. The ending's one of the best endings I've ever seen in a game. But I'm not going to spoil that for you. Okay, let me make sure I get this guy. Gotta have the quick trigger finger on that one. About 50% of the time I'm not able to do that, so got lucky there. Alright, so what I just did there, I just deactivated this mechanism that's gonna not allow this guard to use the doors, to open the doors rather. Alright, so normally he would be able to just open those doors and kill me instantly because my gun no longer works, as you can see. Okay, time to go. Alright, so you reach a dead end. But clever Buddy tells you to go through the sewer drain. Or at least I think it's a sewer drain. I actually have no idea what it is, but whatever it is, you're not able to stand upright or even crawl. You have to actually roll around and avoid whatever those things are that are falling. So very slowly and very cautiously. Alright. Oh, son of a bitch. Why was it so delayed? Okay, let's try that again. And go. And I think that was the last of those things. Alright, you go right, and then you go left. And really, of course, it's just trial and error, knowing which direction to go. You're gonna die the first time you go through here, guaranteed. And you'll be lucky if you don't die 2 or 3 times going the wrong way. Alright, so as much as you try, you're not able to go through this direction. So there's only one way to go. You gotta blast your way through these pillars. And then we're finally going to be outside. Run! Okay, not too far. So you just want to do a little running jump. And then blast your way to make an entrance in here. And this brings you to the caves. Oh, the caves, the dreaded caves. Now from this level on, the game's going to start depending much more on strategy and become increasingly difficult. You really have to start examining your surroundings and just plan each move very carefully. Now I'm not going to be doing a long play of this game because you know what, there's already a dozen of them around. And besides, nobody wants to see me die that much, trust me. Well, okay, maybe you do. So I'll tell you what, I'll show you one really cool death scene. Lester's going to take the easy way out.
Suicide is painless. It brings on many changes, and I can take or leave.